Today we're going to hear just how important that is and what that means to us. So, hey, Boris, welcome to Earth Ancients. Really great to have you.
Thank you, Cliff.
So I want to first start off, you telling us a little bit about what is your PhD in?
My PhD is in computer science.
Okay.
So,
and where did you get your degree? What college?
I did my PhD back in the former Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
It was Soviet Union by that time, and that was a long time ago.
Okay.
And when I came to Canada, I just confirmed my PhD at the Toronto University. Confirmed my PhD, so I'm
okay. And right now you're living in Canada, and you're a professor of what subject?
I am a cybersecurity professor in the college. I am teaching ethical hacking and cybersecurity forensics.
When you say cybersecurity, you're talking about internet specifically, or are you talking about all electronic data security?
Saying that where cybersecurity could be used, like Internet of Things, into browsing, computers, all this stuff.
Okay. And so when your students get out of your course, they are able to, if they want, to work for a company and have an understanding of what the bad guys are looking for in their company, right?
Right. Yeah.
And how to put up barriers and things like that deflect anyone's trying to get data from a computer bank.
Right. They learn about ethical hacking, how hackers operate, and how to hack into systems by yourself in order to understand how it works, and also how to protect yourself and your company from bad guys.
Okay. Are you dealing with the current issues that America's having with the Chinese hackers?
Oh, yeah.
and even in your former Soviet Union, there's a whole group under, I wouldn't say Putin, but we don't know, who are actively hacking, right?
Yeah. State-sponsored groups, hacking groups, so-called APT, Advanced Persistent Threat Groups, that are very active from Russia, China, North Korea, and other countries. Yeah, we're talking about cyber wars, and we learn some practical stuff, how to defend.
Let me just ask you, are you able to detect where these hackers are coming from, or is it more like they're invading this computer system and all we can do is put up more blocks?
I will tell you, Cliff, it's a little bit difficult these days to find out exactly where hackers came from because of many techniques to disguise your location. But eventually, yes, it's possible to identify what country and what hacker group is responsible for what kind of attack.
Okay. And does it take a really sophisticated computer system to be able to trace down these hackers, or can anyone do it with a regular laptop?
You can do it with a regular laptop, but of course you have to know how to do this, and you have to have some tools installed that will help you to do this.
Wow.
This is what actually our classes are about. We learn about security tools, how to identify hackers, and how to defend against hackers.
Okay.
This is very important these days.
Oh my God, yes, because this is, it's a way to access information, but also it's, you don't want people to do that, especially when you have sensitive technology or software. So amazing. Hey, let's talk about this book. It's amazing. I really enjoyed it. I got a lot out of it. I'm still looking at it. It's called In Search of Wonder, North Caucasus Dolmen, and it's based on your own research. Let's talk a little bit about you growing up in the Soviet Union. What was it about these dolmen that fascinated you? You actually talk a little bit about being raised around them. What was that like?
Yes, dolmens, as we call them in Russia. Actually, the dolmens are a little bit different in other countries of the world, but in Russia we call them dolmens, and they are unique constructions. And in the area where I used to live, in the North Caucasus, we actually have many of these, I would say, strange megalithic constructions. So these constructions are really big, and they consist of, they're like small dog houses. You may say this.
Yeah.
They resemble a dog house with a small entry at the front, on the front slab, but they're really megalithic. An average weight of a dolmen is about 30 metric tons, and the metric ton is 1,000 kilos. So just imagine how heavy they are. And I was born in this area in the North Caucasus. It's called Krasnodar Krai. Krai means area, big area. And I remember as a child, I was sent to the so-called pioneer camps for kids.
Right.
So in Russia, it was, and it still is, very popular to send kids to this kind of camps, apparently for health benefits. Why? Because these camps are located on shores of the Black Sea, and kids are spending there about 1 month, 2 months. So my parents used to send me there. And, kids are wandering around. We were not sitting, in the camp, but we were exploring the neighborhood, the area, the woods. And I remember my first impression of seeing this huge house, Dolmen. And no one knew what was it. And we asked our seniors, and they said, this is something that from ancient past, and no one know who built them, for what purpose. And now I can say even how they were built, no one knows still.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that. In the early part of your book, you try to reference the history of it, but the mountain people, even the Cossacks, don't really have an understanding about how far back it goes, but they are truly ancient buildings, aren't they?
Right. The Cossacks, actually, they came to this area. This is not their native area. This area was inhabited by so-called mountain people, Adigs, in our area. So these people are not Russians, of course, and not Cossacks. They're close to maybe some Georgia people from Georgia, from Abkhazia, and they still live there. And even these people don't know who built these dolmens. Definitely not their ancestors.
Right. Now, you have shown that they have conservatively radiocarbon dated, C14 dated to 3,400 to 4,700 years old, roughly 2,700 BC.
All right.
But you say that you believe that those are incorrect and that these are probably significantly older. Why do you believe that?
Yes, why I believe that? Because I've been traveling the world, and I saw other megalithic structures around the world that have similar characteristics to dolmens. They are not exactly the dolmens, but they have similar characteristics, like being constructed from huge blocks, and these blocks don't have any writings on them, and these blocks are polished, and these blocks fit together so tightly that you cannot even put the blade of the knife between blocks. And other similar characteristics that actually I am describing in my book that could point out that dolmens, as well as these ancient megaliths, were built with similar technology. And
okay, yeah.
I don't know who did it. And like Helena Blavatsky said that this could be Atlantean leagues. So like Atlantis used to have similar structures, but probably no one knows today whether it's true or not.
Talk a little bit, if you can, about the mythology that you found out. There are the early people, the legend of and I'm not going to say this correctly, it's the Gaia people, the legends of these very, very early people that were probably pre-Diluvian, pre-flood, and I guess they were kind of dwarf-like, weren't they?
Pre-Diluvian people, of course, we don't know who they who they were. But there are some legends, of course, about people who, or I don't know, yeah, we can call them people who build similar structures around the world, megalithic structures. Everywhere you go and see megaliths, and especially in Russia, dolmens, they are talking about giants. That there used to be giants in the world, and they probably built these structures. Because even today, it's not possible to lift a single block with our modern technology. And these dolmens, for example, they are, as I said, constructed the way that blocks fit together perfectly. So just imagine what technology was able to do this,
Right.
to lift a block of 20 metric tons and together with other blocks of similar weights.
Okay, let's talk about, let's have you break down. I'm really curious how you broke these down. The Caucasus Dolmen, it's a tiled style, as you call them, and it's made up of 4 erect, vertically placed stones, and then a 5th slab, which is a roof. But talk a little bit about this construction and why it's so advanced, because as you were saying, the stone sections all fit together perfectly.
Right. So there are different kinds of dolmens. Some dolmens are rectangular in shape, and as you said, they're made of 5 or 6 blocks. Others are composite and made of many pieces, and some even are rock-hewn monolith, and others have a sarcophagus-like shape, for example. And there are different kinds of dolmens, but all of them have similar characteristics. And the average length of the dolmen is about 3 meters. It's roughly 9.8 feet. And width is about 2 meters, the average. I'm talking about an average dolmen. It's about 6.6 feet. It's about 2 meters. Height about, I would say, 2 meters as well. It's also 6.6 feet. And the hole, the manhole, this is called, but I call it the entrance, because I believe that this was used as an entrance. I call it the entrance. It's about 40 centimeters in diameter. It's about roughly, I would say, 1.3 feet in diameter.
Right.
And yeah, so let's take, for example, rock-hewn dolmens, and they were constructed partially or completely from the existing rock. And the interior chamber of this type of dolmen had to be built through a small entrance hole in the front wall. I don't know how they did it.
You give an example of local museum trying to move one of these dolmen, and it is not easy, is it, to try to shift these somewhere else?
Oh yeah. They tried to move several dolmens, but what they did, they actually destroyed these dolmens. They were able to move a couple of dolmens, small dolmens, but they were not able to reassemble these dolmens.
Yeah, because they're so heavy, I guess, right?
Yeah, it was not possible.
Yeah, they're just so heavy. One thing that I am having trouble with when I look at these dolmen is that they have these manholes, but they're not really made for a full-size adult. They're so damn small. It's almost like they're made for a smaller human. And you show that there's myths of giants building these dolmen for smaller humanoid types, right?
Right.
And that's kind of the myth of why they would have these tiny little manholes.
Yeah, one of the legends is talking about dwarfs, small people like gnomes, for example. And the legend is saying that dwarfs actually tricked giants to construct these dolmens, houses for them. So only dwarfs were able to go through this entrance inside of the dolmen. But I would tell you that humans can also do this. The hole is about 1.3 feet in diameter, so you may actually try to go inside.
Okay.
It's possible.
Now, some of the dolmens that I see in your book have false doors or they have plugs in them. Why did they create these plugs? And they're huge plugs too.
Right. The average weight of one plug is about 150 kilos. So they're really heavy. and they not many plugs left. And of course, I just can give you theory why they constructed these plugs as well, because of course no one knows today what was the purpose of these plugs. But these plugs fit very well inside of the manhole. So probably at some point Dolmen was completely sealed from the outside with this plug. But for what purpose? I have a couple of ideas in the book, and of course I don't insist on my theories, but at least something I can offer. Like, for example, this plug could be used to seal someone inside for the long time, for different purposes, either for some initiation ritual or for some other reason.
Oh, I never thought about that for an initiation. Those plugs are so heavy. It's amazing that they are able to move them. How far away are the quarries for the stones that were used to create these dolmen? Are they many, many miles, or are they nearby?
You know that they need more because there is no quarries in the near distance of these dolmens. Some Russian scientists were searching for these quarries, but they were not able to find anything similar, anything even resembling a quarry for these dolmens. And I would tell you, because I'm from this area, that stones of which dolmens are made are not from our area. You wouldn't be able to find stones like that, like scattered around, that you may think, oh, there is no quarry, but maybe someone collected huge boulders of stones and made dolmens plates from this stone. No.
Now that's a little bit curious to me, because in the area we're talking about, which is close to a river, I mean, what is the composition of these dolmen? Is it 100% granite? Is it soapstone, sandstone? What is the typical stone type? Do we know?
It's actually a sandstone in most cases, but sand limestone as well, and a small percent of granite, even granite.
Okay. So, and you're saying that there is no known quarries to quarry these walls and the roof.
No.
So, wow, that is amazing, because those are heavy, heavy, heavy stones.
Right. And you have to bring these stones up to 1 kilometer up to the mountains. It's about, I think, something about 900 meters. The highest dolmen was positioned in the mountain.
Wow. Now, in your book, you say that currently there's 2,300 known dolmen in the Caucasus, but at one time there were perhaps tens of thousands. What happened to them?
Even when I was a kid, I remember seeing several dolmens around the area where I used to be in the pioneer camp. But later on, I think 20 years later, I started researching the dolmens when I was 28, 27, and I was not able to find as many dolmens as I was remember to see in this area. What happened to these dolmens? And local people are saying that they were destroyed.
Wow.
They were, stones were taken for construction purposes by local people, and the government didn't care about dolmens. Even today, I know that the local government doesn't care about.
They're not protected by like a UNESCO like we have here?
No, they are not.
Wow, that's amazing. I want to talk a little bit about what you mentioned before, which is that Blavatsky considered these stone monoliths as having a link to Atlantis, which would make them considerably old, because we know it's thought of that Atlantis, their last phase was about 12,000 years ago before it was destroyed. But is there something about the construction or the energetics of these buildings that makes you think that they could be significantly older than what they've currently been dated?
Yes, I would say that many tests have been done by Russian scientists or people with psychic abilities to find out whether dolmens emanate certain energy. And yes, there are proofs and tests that dolmens emanate energy. But I would say this about every monolithic structure, because dolmens, as well as other monolithic structures, are made of sandstone.
Hmm.
And sandstone has millions and millions of quartz crystals inside of the stone. And these quartz crystals are known for piezoelectric effect. So what it is, it means that under pressure, these crystals, quartz, they emanate energy, and this effect, piezoelectric effect, is used in electronics, in radio, for
Hmm.
example. But because these blocks are made of sandstone, and there are almost like 80, I would say maybe 70, 80% of quartz in this stone, the whole dolmen actually emanates energy, because of dolmens are moving, because of Earth is moving, and this area is known for seismic activity. Every
Right.
time something happens seismically, these dolmens move and emanate energy.
Right. Now, you're very specific in describing just where these dolmens sit. They sit close to water and they sit on various fault lines, templates that are always, there's always seismic activity going on
Right.
here. And you have highlighted a number of different scientists who have done studies on these. And one of them is a guy named Fedorov, who basically believes that they were used in a unique manner. Can you talk about what he believes and what he's discovered in his research on what these dolmens were used for?
Yes, of course. For example, yes, you mentioned Fedorov. He was talking about the influence of unknown geological factors, such as geological faults, seismicity, or even geomagnetic fields and solar activity on various types of human activity.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, he did some study that he states that people living in such areas are affected by some unknown factor,
Mm-hmm.
and that social phenomena are actually largely influenced by any geological activity and unknown factor. So he's saying that this seismic activity actually influence the population in these regions.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that increased dolmen concentrations, concentration in this area is also not by chance, but probably was served some purpose.
Yeah. Now, this is what I want you to tell us a little more about is that Fedorov describes the cultures that he researched they had more artistic activity. They were more socially influenced, and they also had more scientific capabilities. It's almost like the dolmen were broadcasting a frequency of unseen energy that pierced the physiology of these people. Can you talk in a little more detail about that? How does that work?
How it works, what he proposes not just him, but we are talking about Fedorov, and I'm saying that he proposed that dolmens are made of sandstone. Sandstones are known of having millions of quartz crystals.
Quartz
This
crystal,
quartz,
right, which
yeah, quartz,
resonate. Yeah.
yeah, quartz crystals under pressure, under physical movement, they emanate certain energy. This energy, in combination with seismic energy and tectonic plates movement, because this area is known for some tectonic plates that are moving constantly. So this energy in combination with dolmen energy has some influence on people who live in this area. So he's saying that this energy is influence of the megaliths, and he's saying that dolmens play this specific role in amplifying the energy that emanates from tectonic plates that move due to the tidal actions of the moon and the sun, along with some small earthquakes. I remember there were many earthquakes in the area, in our area, in North Caucasus. And so he's saying that dolmens were built to emphasize this energy. And
fascinating. Go ahead.
yeah, what he's saying that people, nations who live in this area, as you said, they are known for some artistic activity, abilities, some scientific abilities, but the main factor known about this area that there is dense population of people in this area. So what he's saying that dolmens somehow emphasize this energy that comes from this tectonic plates movement and influence people to reproduce.
So it seems like, and it's kind of obvious now, that these ancient megalithic builders understood the subtle energies produced by the gravitational flow of the earth. And then they use these megalithic stones that have a tremendous amount of quartz crystal in them. So I guess what you're saying is that the energy comes up through the earth, is intensified, magnetized, and then distributed like a beacon? Is that what the thinking is? Are they like broadcasting it to people all over the place, or does it go to one group, or do you need to ask permission to access this energy? What is the specific, or are you automatically bathed in it whether you like it or not?
So the whole dolmen as a construction emanates some energy. But because a dolmen is made in a certain manner, like with this entrance hole inside, so this entrance hole is used as actually the whole dolmen becomes an amplifier. The energy comes through this hole in a manner of the searchlight effect, and the dolmen is facing something, and this energy goes through this hole to this particular place where the dolmen faces. So this is what he says, that the purpose of dolmens probably was to emanate energy to far away, not just around the dolmen as many other megaliths do. It's about every megalith emanates energy in about 45 centimeters around. Some tests were showing that. But dolmens, because of the unique constructions, were able to transfer, to transmit this energy to bigger distances. But today,
so you talk about electromagnetic frequencies, but you also talk about measurements that some of the Russian scientists were doing using hertz.
Right.
What did they find in terms of the frequencies? How intense were they?
So Russian scientists did many tests of energy, not just dolmen energy, but electromagnetic energy. And they actually accumulated a large body of data on neuropsychological effects of the electromagnetic fields. And what they're saying, that this energy definitely has some influence on mental illnesses, on other illnesses of people, or for example, mental illnesses in the area of Kursk magnetic anomaly, because there is a magnetic anomaly in the Kursk area. It's not the area where I used to live, but I just have this data. It's 120, 160% higher than in regions where this magnetic area EMF anomalies are absent.
And so what is it doing to the population? Is it causing more mental illness, or?
Yes, it does.
It does.
It does. It's not a healing energy like EMF. You know that EMF today is a big problem because EMF is everywhere. We are driving a car. We're under EMF. We're flying using aircraft, going to traveling, and we're receiving lots of EMF. Our fridge produces lots of EMF. So EMF is a problem. for
Right.
human body.
One of the chapters where you discuss these energies goes into the fact that these dolmen actually are beneficial in some ways because they were used for fertility and helped increase the reproductive rates. Talk a little bit about which dolmen were doing that and what the technique were for the women to have healthy children.
Dolmens that still exist in this area, people started worshipping these dolmens. So
Worshipping them.
yeah,
Okay.
worship. So people are coming to this area. They live among dolmens, and some people believe that dolmens may heal their diseases. Like women, for example, they go to some specific dolmens that are said to heal infertility or to give them some, to help them to find a good husband, for example. And this has been in other country, like something like this for many years. So in France, for example, there are also megalithic constructions, not like North Caucasus Dolmens, but similar. And women used to go to these megalithic constructions to touch the stones and to ask stones and to ask dolmens to give them good husband or to feel infertility. So this tradition goes on even today.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about your personal impressions? Because you write about what you felt, the energy you felt when you actually touched these dolmens where you used to live. And also an important fact that you feel that in some ways there's consciousness in these buildings, these structures, that it can respond or it can on some level help people.
My personal experience when I touched the dolmen was that actually I felt something inside, very strong energy. But I feel energy, not just like this is how I am. Sometimes I feel positive energy, sometimes I feel negative energy. And the first time I remember I touched dolmen, I felt strong energy coming from the dolmen. So it was not negative energy, and I don't know was it positive or not, but some strong energy for sure. And dolmen, as you said, some dolmens have consciousness. I'm not sure about that, but I know that people in Russia, they tested every dolmen that is standing today, and they said, okay, this dolmen is good. It produces positive energy. This dolmen is bad.
Mm-hmm.
And they even have maps of dolmens for various purposes of healing or for various purposes of changing your life. If you want to change your life, for example, you don't know what to do, you go to a specific dolmen and you ask this dolmen. Of course, you have to prepare yourself, not just come to the dolmen and ask dolmen, tell me what to do. No, you have to cleanse yourself before. You have to positive thoughts. You have to meditate, and only in these states you may ask the dolmen your question. And I know many people actually received answers to their personal questions, so it works.
What did you feel yourself when you touched the dolmen, and maybe on some level you prepared for your interactions with the stone? But what did it feel like a light electrical energy passing through you, or was it some other sensation? What did it feel like?
Actually, I didn't expect anything. As I remember, I just started learning about dolmens. I started studying dolmens. I haven't expected anything that I would feel or something. So I just, at some point, I remember I was tired or something. I just touched the dolmen, and immediately I felt some strong energy coming through my hand to my head. And to be honest, today I don't remember exactly what were my thoughts at that point, but I understood right away that this is some sacred construction, and this is not just a bunch of several stones put together in a hurry, I would say. Someone built this construction for whatever purpose it was built.
In your chapter titled Dolmen Power, you talk about egregore power. What is egregore power?
Egregore power actually is like a thought power.
Thought power. Okay.
Yeah, we as humans, we create some power by our thoughts. You know that you probably heard about this, that every thought has some physical characteristics. If you wish something, if you want something, it happens to you. Why? Because our thoughts have weight, I would say. It's not something that we just are sending to the universe. Every thought has some, I don't know, some weight in this. So just, you know, this be careful what you wish, right? Because this could happen. And egregore is like thought entity that some people may build around them. And this thought entity may be with these people every time they live. Like some people, for example, they may hate themselves simply. And everything in their life they would not be able to achieve. And they are saying, wow, I'm so unlucky. I cannot achieve this and that. But why? Because they don't like themselves. They produced some kind of, you may call it egregore, that will interfere in every way with their luck. So as many teachings are saying, you have to be positive, you have to love yourself, and that way the luck will come to you.
Interesting. You know, one of the areas of that chapter that I wanted you to explain a little better is that you say, based on your research, that adults and children have different reactions when they're in the presence of a dolmen. And I wanted you to explain that. Is that because a child has an innocent mind and can access the energy more, or what? How do you explain why children and adults have different reactions?
I would say that when you are in vicinity of dolmens, you are under influence of some, let's call it unknown factor, as Fedorov calls it, or let's say it dolmen energy. So every person that is in the vicinity of dolmen is under influence this power. Some people may not feel this power, but some people like kids, they may feel this power and they may be influenced by this power. So because you said correctly, kids are more innocent, they and more like fair with themselves. They are not afraid of this power. At the same time, adults, they don't want to change. They may interpret any difference in how they feel as something foreign. They don't want to succumb to these changes, and they try to stay on the same level,
Right.
so to speak. But kids are willingly to want to change or whatever. They're not against this power that they feel.
One of the really insightful parts of your research is that you have uncovered that dolmen have healing power. And you discuss a research investigator, his name is Fertility, who discovered that these certain dolmen, not all of them, certain dolmen generate ultrasound and radiation. Can you talk about the healing's effects of these energetics and what has been discovered regarding healing?
Regarding healing, as you said correctly, some dolmens emanate power, and it was actually a well-known study that particular frequency may heal certain disease. Take, for example, the Rife frequency generator. You know that this inventor, the American inventor Rife, he actually created a machine that he claimed was used to heal patients. And he believed that each disease or condition has its own electromagnetic frequency. And if you find this frequency and you produce an impulse of the same frequency, this impulse of energy can kill or disable disease cells. And the same with the dolmens. Russian psychics, they made the map of dolmens. They mapped every dolmen for specific energy. And they're saying this dolmen can heal this and that disease. This dolmen could heal that disease, and so on. And I saw Rife machines. My neighbor actually has a Rife machine in Canada, and he bought this machine when his wife were sick, and he used this machine to try healing her.
Did it help her? I didn't hear you. Did he?
Unfortunately, it didn't help. But what he's saying, he still believes on this machine. He's saying that he bought this machine too late.
Oh, I see. Her illness had advanced too far.
Right. And she had cancer in the late stage. So he doesn't blame this machine. He tried everything in his power at the time to heal. Yeah.
Boris, what do these dolmen tell us about our ancient past? What is it? I mean, from a scientific level, they're very, very sophisticated, but they're I see them as ancient machines that are a benefit and can be a problem depending on how you approach them. But what's your takeaway on these dolmen? What does it tell us about the ancient past?
You mean why these dolmens were constructed in the first place, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a science that's lost. But I'm just curious, as a scientist yourself, what do they tell us?
Unfortunately, I cannot give you exact answer for.
Well, I can't expect you to, because you don't know this is an ancient structure, very, very.
My impression is that dolmens, I would side with Fedorov on this. I would say that dolmens were constructed for purposes of amplifying seismic energy. For some reason, he found that people who live in this area have these specific abilities and specific, talents. I don't know, but I am sure that the purpose of building dolmens were to emphasize this energy that comes from the earth. Is it a telluric energy, or is it a seismic energy, or some electromagnetic energy? I mean, maybe all of these, but dolmens were constructed in such way that they used to amplify this energy. This is my belief.
Amazing. The book's called In Search of Wonder, North Caucasus Dolmen. My guest today has been Dr. Boris Loza. What would you like the reader to get from this book, Boris? What is your hope that when people read your book, they're going to understand? What's your takeaway?
I hope that everyone who reads this book will form their own opinion about these strange, quote-unquote, Russian dolmens. Of course, they're not Russian. And would even want to travel to these areas. Maybe today it's not easy, as could be in the future, but maybe some people would decide to see by their own eyes about these megalithic structures.
Okay. How easy is it to fly into Russia? Or what airport would I have to fly into to go see these?
You have to fly to Krasnodar, that's the capital city of the area.
Okay.
That's the city where I was born. And from there, you have to find a guide that will take you to the dolmens, but there are no roads, there are no good roads, I would say.
Oh, really? No good roads?
Yeah. I mean, of course, you may go to some small cities, but dolmens are located in the mountains. So you have somehow to be able to go there. And unfortunately, not many Russian people speak English. So just be ready.
You're at a disadvantage as soon as you get off
It's difficult.
pay for an interpreter.
It's difficult today.
Wow. Yeah, you know, it's funny because in your book you talk about when you were living in Russia that it was repressive and you had to go through a committee to be able to go anywhere, travel, and boy, you really were itching to get out and do stuff. And now, of course, living in Canada, you go any place you want.
Oh yeah, but
So
you don't have to go to Russia to see megaliths.
that's
You
true.
may go to
That's
other countries. There are, I actually on every continent you may find megaliths.
yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Well, hey, Boris, thank you very much. It's been really a pleasure to speak with you. And I enjoyed your openness and ability to express and write about the unseen energetics that these megaliths produce. I don't think there's really anyone out there right now who is talking about megaliths that are found in the former USSR. And it was a real pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.